In this one, I will discuss the issue of the physician, of the doctor who was at the police station, met me at the police station, and acting like a reasonable guy who took my side by transporting me to the psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje, and that's exactly what he did. He, however, refused to sanction me on the spot, if that makes things any easier. That was on October the 30th, 2025. I mentioned about this guy, about the Kamnik. It's very, very important for me because he signed the contract with Robert Golob in 1998, 1997, when he was still in the school and he needed all the assistance from Gregor Golobic, from Robert Golob, from Milan Kuchan to get through university. Back then already, he started to play with the imitation of the schizophrenia through the torture, using his schoolmates while him depicting himself like a nice, civilized, polite guy. Then this imitation of the schizophrenia expanded to a little bit more sophisticated approach by using his future wife. He was not only using his future wife, but on the side, it was Robert Golob, Milan Kuchan, who used another female with idea to make me believe that this is actually his female, his wife. Then he signed another contract with Milan Kuchan, Robert Golob, therefore. And that was a contract in respect to Kamnik. And that one is really, really significant to me because its roots, the approval for the Kamnik schizophrenia, came straight from Brussels. The one who signed the approval for that stuff was none other than Ursula von der Leyen, who was the most familiarized with my case, but wanted to assist now known as King Charles, Prince Charles back then, with ability, regardless, even as jacked up, because everything was jacked up during MK Ultra. King Charles, Ursula von der Leyen believed it would be beneficial for them if I would somehow mistaken characters involved in MK Ultra, even so if that will have to do with imitation of the character, therefore using a doppelgangers. And this really is the story about the Kamnik. This physician would participate in torture right here in Novo Mesto together with Novo Mesto police, Robert Golob, and would have them transport me to hospital Novo Mesto, where I would meet this guy. I would even drive with him, with the ambulance workers, that I can say, on, I don't know, maybe really was 2 occasions to Ljubljana. He also was the one who was a designated terrorist prior to psychiatric hospitalization in 2012. He started to terrorize me, engaging in terror, increasing anxiety in me during MK Ultra, which Robert Golob psychiatrists were using for the sake of the hospitalization. In other words, these people wanted to exhaust me mentally as much as possible so that that hospitalization would come as, you know, as brutal, psychologically as brutal as possible. This is what this animal, this physician who claimed that he was my friend and he was on my side and so on, you know, that's what he played. He played like a big friend. He would give me advice to actually eat green stuff. Like I'm a complete idiot, basically. He was cooking in our house. He was preparing food. He was teaching me what to eat, what not, next to 100 other people. If I was a physician, no, I wouldn't do that because it's insane. This is insane. Going from French fries, completely fried black, to me coming in the house and tutoring something what is healthy and what not, participating how to prepare food by somebody who tortures me, and me coming next to that person to teach the person what is actually the right thing to do after this person has been told million lies. No, that is insane. That I sure I would not go and do it. That's crazy. That's completely crazy because it's actually even counterproductive. Actually, when I blend into a mixture of the people like this, I should say instructions, I make even chaos even bigger because that person is going to lose the will to actually even investigate through so many lies. It's difficult to see through. With the symptoms I had, impossible. And I did explain the disgust with going about and study what's actually what could be and what not based on their tutoring and stuff like that. It was the same thing like with the smartphone. I didn't buy the smartphone until 2016. This was my first smartphone. This physician, in other words, through the trauma torture which police committed, cops, exhaust me, traumatize me, would get to see me at hospital Novo, Mesto, and hallucinate in front of me about Ljubljana, which they connected with future psychiatric hospitalization. And when taking me also to Ljubljana, this is the stuff I'm talking so that we don't even have to go to the lie detector test. Now, if you're going to go to the lie detectors, that's even better. I prefer you to say no. And that way I'm going to have more time to spend with you, and you're not going to like it at all. We don't go beyond Ljubljana. He's going to have to explain what exactly he meant by this, that we don't go beyond Ljubljana. The question was a Kamnik, where they were using a doppelganger of this physician. The point about it is, look, you signed the contract, the second contract about this stuff, right there. Look, outside of the kitchen, with Gregor Golobic and with Robert Golob. I might have sound maybe even wrong when I posted the article about this physician. But what I have written about this physician was exactly equivalent to zero mistake. In Kamnik, he had a doppelganger. The ambulance workers were not only from Kamnik, but also from Ljubljana. He did mixed. Again, he mixed into the environment of the ambulance workers, thus demanded from me during a total trauma. I don't know how many would you like to go to the psychiatric hospital. So if I fucking traumatize you to the degree that you would not recognize your mama and your papa, and this was the case that I would not recognize my mother, my own mother and my own father during MK Ultra, my own sister, I would not recognize. Do you understand the degree of trauma torture that was in this case? So I don't know what kind of contract, what was he trying to prove with, in a parenthesis, my mistake in him for Kamnik when he did stuff like this. And I cannot even exclude that I have not seen him in Kamnik. And all along, it was all done in such a way that would make me believe that he was actually in Kamnik. He had a doppelganger also here in Novo Mesto who claimed that he was originally from area of the Kamnik, if that person somehow was not him. So, these physicians got a lot of answers to answer. And again, unfortunately, Robert Golub, for the crimes he was doing, he always was asking for approval for these crimes. Ursula von der Leyen, Americans, American politicians, European politicians, European commissioners, European human rights ombudsmen, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I started to talk about new Ribbentrop-Molotov contract, pact. I am definitely the ultimate proof of that Ribbentrop-Molotov pact. Even when they said, oh, if you're going to say that's impossible to prove, that's going to be immediately a schizophrenia. Yeah, good luck with that one too. This physician is a criminal, a hardcore criminal, one of the worst. And he's got some answers to provide. He's got some questions to answer in respect to Robert Golub, Gregor Golubic, in respect to his own imitation of the schizophrenia. That much for the October the 30, 2024. He did work in the Novo Mesto. Obviously, he worked in Novo Mesto, scumbag, fucking scum.